excellent day for an exorcism.
I see dead people.
Suffering will be legendary even in hell.
It's alive!
Fear on Film. Hi, I'm Joe, and welcome to a special bonus episode of Fear on Film, where we have writer-director Andrew Burgh here to talk about his new horror film, The Demoness. So welcome, Andrew, and thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I came across the some of the stills of the film, and I heard the opening score that you guys did for the opening credits, and I was really intrigued. They looked really interesting, and I mean, one thing we're trying to do here on Fear on Film is really promote and elevate the indie filmmaker, horror film in genre. I mean, because right now our horror films are back in a strong way, and this been this renaissance for the last few years of indie horror film. And the indie horror film, to me, I see it as it's the backbone of the genre. It drives it overall, especially with the current state of the growth with A24, Magnet, and so forth. It's been incredible. What are your takes on the resurgence of horror?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think it's like it's really seen a huge boom, right? You have movies like Skin and Rink that were made on like such low budgets and did well. Even the Terrifier series, which I love, I'm a huge fan of. And like you said, A24. You have movies like, what was the Nicolas Cage one? Long Legs.
Yes, which was fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, it was definitely it was like visionary filmmaking. I really loved the production design and the cinematography of that movie. And yeah, you're right. Like you have a huge renaissance, and like I guess horror has it does have its roots in indie filmmaking. I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a independent film, if I'm not mistaken, that was pretty low budget as well.
Yes, it was.
And
yeah,
it was a huge hit. Even Halloween wasn't the biggest budget movie ever either. At the time.
and it turned out to be one of the highest grossing indie films of all time. And this is kind of reminiscent of the 80s. We had these small studios like Hemdale and Canon Films and so forth, coming out with these small films with small budgets and bringing in huge returns, and in turn creating some of the most iconic horror films that we've seen to date. And I love it. And even the main studios, the big guys, they're even taking note, because I mean, you look at the Warner Brothers, how they got this string of hit horror films that they're coming out with: Companion, Sinners, Final Destination, Conjuring. I mean, heck, even Disney took note of the power of the indie film. They went to A24 to cut their Thunderbolts trailer, which was pretty surprising.
Oh, I didn't know that. But I like those movies you just mentioned. Companion was pretty good. That girl, Sophie Thatcher, who was also in Heretic, I think she's really good, very talented.
Yeah. Oh, she was the driving force in that film, and she was incredible.
She's amazing. And then, I saw the new Conjuring a couple of weeks ago. That was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I love horror. I guess that's why I'm doing it.
Right. No, horror is it's always been a genre that has been there. I mean, in the 80s, of course, as we know, it had a huge splash on culture, and it had its ebbs and lows, and so forth. It's come and gone, but it's never disappeared. And I think, not to disparage or talk anything negative about the MCU type of superhero films, but they were kind of taking out the oxygen from the air from everything else, not giving the indie films a chance to breathe and glow as they should have. And we see a downturn now in that trend of the MCU films, which is good for the indie films and indie filmmakers like yourself to get out there and get exposed.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's not an easy industry. So it's like, if we're in the right time for horror, it's like, I'm very grateful for that, because it's filmmaking is a very hard industry, really.
Oh, I know. That was my first when I went to college. I went to film school and studied film and tried to get in. And it's a tough, cutthroat industry. It's really difficult to get in.
It really is. Where did you go to film school?
I went to UCLA.
Oh, nice. That's a great school.
Yeah, and also took some courses before that at Santa Monica College, and here and there. And then I went to the my own version of film school, which was the local Cineplex, and self-taught myself screenwriting. When I was like 17 years old, and but yeah. It's tough. I mean, I love the film industry. I love the creative process, and it's quite an accomplishment and achievement when you can actually, like yourself, get films off the ground. And I know how difficult it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah. So before we continue, I just want to say that I really enjoyed your film. I thought it was interesting and it was a lot of fun. And so please tell our listeners about your film that's coming out, I believe, next year, correct?
Yeah, so we don't have an exact release date. I guess it kind of depends on like which distributor we sign with and kind of how film festivals go. I'm a huge fan of film festivals and kind of like connecting with horror filmmakers, and we've submitted to a lot actually. So fingers crossed. And yeah, so the Demoness is basically about a demonic succubus who kind of visits Earth to torment people. I would say there's two main inspirations for it. It was like the 80s classics that I kind of grew up on, like Hellraiser and Nightmare on Elm Street, Maniac Cop, which I think is a very good film too. And then like the Terrifier movies, like I saw the third one before I saw the other two in theaters, and I was just like so impressed by it, like everything, the cinematography, the music. Art the Clown is just a brilliant villain. And his girlfriend, Victoria Hayes, is amazing too. And it's just like, that really inspired me actually to write the Demoness. I was like, wow, this is so powerful, and it's like, I think it's brilliant, and it deserves all the success it's gotten. Terrifying.
Yeah, and it's definitely opened doors. It's also with the MPAA system, with the ratings and so forth. It just kind of helped break that barrier and gave filmmakers a little bit more creative breathing room to and not be restricted to say, well, we can't exactly show this because we're going to get this NC-17. And so yeah, it's definitely a groundbreaking film.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the highest grossing unrated movie ever, if I'm not mistaken, which is amazing.
I'm a huge fan of the Terrifier series, and Damien Leone, he's quite a demented individual. He's
a genius. His special effects makeup in those movies is just incredible.
Oh yeah. I mean, so yeah, the first time I saw the original, the first one, I thought, oh my God, he's not going to go there, and he did, and it was pretty impressive. So, what was the initial spark that inspired you to do a film on succubus, on the whole, folklore and legend?
I think it kind of was born out. So I did a horror thriller feature called The Seductress from Hell 2 years ago that did well in festivals, and like I think the Demoness was kind of born out of that. Like the Seductress from Hell has like more thriller elements than the Demoness. It's like, it's not an out and out horror, but it does actually have like a sort of demonic woman who kind of gets revenge on people that wronged her in life. So I think that was kind of like my inspiration for the Demoness. Like, and I think the Terrifier movies as well, like I kind of got a lot of creative inspiration. Even the color grading, we kind of were inspired by that to kind of make it a little saturated and cinematic as well. So yeah, I think, and I'm just a huge horror fan. Like I wasn't as much into it like when I was younger, but the last like 7 or 8 years, I've just like seen so many, and like I've just become a huge fan of the genre, and I've just watched as many as I can. I watch a lot of Korean and Japanese horror movies, and those inspire me a lot too.
The J-horror films are amazing.
They're amazing, yeah, so good.
Yeah. So the succubus, this Demoness, beyond being a literal monster, what themes does the succubus represent in the film? Addiction and so forth, toxic relationships.
Yeah, I think it's kind of it's a cynical movie about like the dark side of like humanity and stuff. So I think I would say it's also a dark comedy, and I think that was something I got from Terrifier too, because I feel like that movie's kind of a dark comedy in a way as well. So yeah, I think that was kind of there's definitely themes, like there's some social commentary themes about like this couple that are arguing, like the sort of the fake influencer type, the sort of shady, people at the club, or like there's a lot of like satire in the movie. So yeah, I think those are the themes. And yeah, I just wanted to make a very entertaining movie with we paid a lot of attention to the soundtrack as well. So thank you for your kind words on that as well.
Well, going back to like the dating culture, in toxic relationships. I mean, I'm from LA, and I was able to identify during my dating years to a lot of that. I mean, I guess you could say I dated quite a few demonesses in my time.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was quite eventful. But yeah, I mean, I really related to that, and I thought the humor, the subtextual humor was really finely executed. Now, I want to talk about the visual effects, because you do utilize a lot of practical effects, right?
Yeah, we had a very talented special effects makeup artist called Brittany Jameson Lackey. She worked on my last movie, The Seductress from Hell, and she's incredibly talented. She's worked on big stuff like Carnival Row and I think The Witcher Blood Origin. She's very talented and experienced. So yeah, we used a lot of practical effects. We also used some visual effects too, with like blood splatters and stuff. And yeah, she and I worked for many months together in pre-production with kind of how we're going to execute it, how we kind of, we're going to show it on screen, because a lot of those things, like, you can only really do one take when you have that like huge effect.
Right.
So that was really fun, because I had done special effects on my previous film, but not as many as this, and this was like more scaled up. So that was a great learning experience for me as well.
Yeah, there was one scene that really stood out for me that really made me cringe, which I loved. I'm not going to give it away. I think you know which one I'm talking about.
Is it the one with the hammer? Is that?
Yes. I was sitting there with a grin from ear to ear. I loved it. I thought it was great. And I mean, I love seeing stuff like that because, to me, not to put down, CGI and technology. There's a lot of skill and talent involved in CGI, but the engineering and the blood, sweat, and tears that go into practical effects, it's unparalleled. And I love it when filmmakers like yourself, they go back to the soul of horror. Of course, it's the storytelling, it's the plot, it's the characters, it's in the script, but it's the visual practical effects that make it really pop out on the screen. And it's part of the art of horror. And I think you did a really good job with that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really lucky how that turned out. And yeah, during filming, Brittany and her assistants, like, they spent so much time on that shot. And like, yeah, and I was kind of scared for the actor because, like, I mean, we did everything safe wise and everything,
right.
But as a producer, you kind of always, worry about these things and safety. But yeah, no, I think that scene, I really like that as well.
Yeah. Now, can you describe some of the challenges and creative choices that went into bringing the succubus and her abilities to life? I mean, her makeup was really, really amazing. I loved the design and the execution of it.
Thank you so much. So yeah, that was Brittany and I. Like, she also did the makeup design as well as the special effects. She's incredible. So that was like, we had a lot of calls in pre-production and stuff, and I kept talking to her about Pinhead from Hellraiser because I just love that series, and I love the makeup design on that. So like, I think that was, even though the Demoness doesn't look like that, like, that was just kind of the vibe. And like, I definitely wanted an 80s inspired look. I'm a huge like 80s guy. Like, I see all those, Nightmare on Elm Street, like, I think is amazing, that whole series, Freddy Krueger and Pinhead and Candyman as well. Like, I just love that kind of, those retro nostalgic horror movies. So I think that was the we worked a lot on that makeup look, and then she actually ordered the prosthetic from England, and it took, I think, like between 2.5 to 3 hours every day on set to apply that. And yeah, that was really interesting, and I really love it too.
Yeah, it's great. And you mentioned, you alluded to the 80s. Now, I did see a definite George Romero influence there from, let's say, Creepshow. With the vivid colors, the sharp contrast, the Dutch tilt angles, and the use of the synth score by Jonas Sonberg, I believe his name is.
Sonberg, yeah.
Yeah, and the cinematography, Matt Four, I believe he's your cinematographer, and it was very 80s, and I love it. It kind of gives us this dark, whimsical, comedic hints of, say, Tales from the Dark Side. Would you say that was some of your influences as well?
Thank you so much. Not really, to be honest. I think it was more like Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a huge one. But it was kind of, because I think Terrifier 2 and like they have that kind of 80s style look. So I think that was probably more. I don't think I've actually seen the one you mentioned. I should.
Yeah, it's a definite classic. I mean, it's right up your alley. Trust me, from what I've seen, that what you've executed on screen, you'll definitely like it. It has that kind of whimsical, dark humor and the synth score and the cinematography that's almost like a living, breathing comic book.
Amazing. You said Tales from the Dark Side?
Yeah, Tales from the Dark Side. That was a series that Romero did, and it had the same kind of tone, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, and I guess I was birthed. My horror love was birthed in the '80s, and that's why I was drawn so much to your film, and really saw the nostalgic touches. Now, do you? I mean, and I do see this kind of popping up here and there now in cinema. Like with Terrifying, your film. Do you foresee more of this '80s horror devices in style being fused more in the future for horror?
Yeah, I think it could be because I think It Follows, which I also like, that had an 80s kind of soundtrack, if I'm not mistaken. And then, like, I'm a huge fan of the film Drive. It's not horror, but that, like, is one of my favorite movies. And that kind of, I mean, that's a dark movie too, actually. But that has like a synth 80s kind of thing. So I've always I did a mini series called The Twisted Doll, and I also had that kind of 80s vibe. I just love like 80s and 90s music. So that inspires me as a lot as a filmmaker. So yeah, I think to answer your question, I do think there is kind of a nostalgia. Maybe it's also because like we have so many problems in society, and maybe people look back at like simpler times. So maybe that's why, I don't know. But I do think there's like, I saw The Monkey a few weeks ago, and I feel like that has kind of a retro vibe to it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that as well. Oz Perkins definitely did pull from a lot of the '80s kind of stylistic horror. But I think some people say, oh, this is just old folks or whatever being nostalgic or hardcore. You know, you know. Bottom line, what's good is good, and I think the '80s really transitioned horror into a new era that's still being felt to this day. I mean, there was we do have cultural shifts and so forth that changed the tonnage of horror, but you can't deny the '80s. I mean, like the films you listed off. I mean, films like Hellraiser and Nightmare on Elm Street, they're unparalleled, and they were
Yeah,
they,
I agree.
yeah, some of the greatest in horror. And again, and what I love what's going on right now in horror is that we have a new style of horror, a very original approach to horror, an artistic, more elevated approach. And we're getting some great stuff right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I pretty much see every horror movie that comes out in theaters. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I saw The Conjuring. What else did I see recently? The first Omen, that was a while ago, but I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was a good one. I really enjoyed that one. That one, it definitely it fit perfectly with the original '76 Richard Donner film.
I agree. That's one of my favorite horror movies too. I actually like all three Omen movies. The one with Sam Neill, I think, is really good too.
Oh yeah, it's very underrated. A lot of people pretty much kick it to the curb. I mean, I loved it. I love all three of them. They really had. You see the progression and the arc of the character of Damien really come to fruition with that trilogy.
I agree completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sam Neill is just brilliant in that role. Like he plays Damien so well, like so mean and
Yes, and that was one of his earlier roles, I believe, before he became quote unquote Sam Neill. And yeah, he was fantastic in that. He really made that film work for me. So now, were there any specific scenes or effects in the film when you guys were working on this that were pretty much? It was a challenge to pull it off, and was pretty much something that you're pretty much proud of now.
yeah. I mean, I think like every movie, like I put a lot into filmmaking. I care a lot about like my work and stuff. So I think yeah, the whole movie was a challenge. As any production is. You have like a certain amount of days, and you have all these. It's never easy filmmaking, but I would say the special effects makeup scenes were pretty tough to do because I hadn't done that before as a director. So it was like I mean, I had a little bit of experience, but not much. Like most of my stuff hasn't had that much violence in it. So I think that was challenging for me, like learning experience. And like, even though Brittany and her team was so good and experienced, like it takes a long time to set up those shots with like the blood rigs and kind of the safety side of it and like just making sure everything's like in order before you film it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I mean, again, when I was studying film, I was on a couple of indie films that never went anywhere. But yeah, it's a very challenging process. I mean, there's a lot of hurry up and wait, script issues, technical issues, talent issues, that all kind of culminate and make it very difficult. But all the bottom line, once you're done, it makes it all the more worth it. I mean, it's a labor of love.
Yeah, I agree. Agree completely. I mean, I've been lucky that I've had a decent amount of experience as a filmmaker, so that like helps. Like, if I had tried to do this movie like 10 years ago when I was first starting out, there's no way I would have been able to do it. Like, I had a great team, and Matt Four, who you mentioned, the cinematographer, him and I have been working together for like 8 years or something together. He did my first feature, The Bestowal, which is like a sci-fi romance, very different to this. And he and I did a horror short film a few years ago as well. And then we did this together. He's an amazing cinematographer. Like, he's been in the industry 20 something years.
Wow.
Very talented and like accomplished. I mean, he's worked on stuff like Godzilla, and like, he's incredible, really.
Yeah. I mean, I really love his shot compositions and his setups and movement. People really don't, a lot of people don't really see that, that a cinematographer, camera person, that they're integral in telling the story and helping this creative process pop off the screen. And yeah, I think he did an amazing job. I really loved it. I really liked his work on this.
Thank you so much. Yeah, he's a really nice guy, and like, he's kind of laid back sort of person that is great on set. Very cool and like level headed, and yeah, he's just if anyone's listening, and we're going to hire a cinematographer, he's a great guy. So.
Perfect. Awesome. So once your film is released and audience have watched it and they're walking out the theater, what do you want them to come away with? What do you want them to be thinking about? And what lasting impression do you want to leave them with?
Thanks. That's a great question. I would say to be entertained more than anything else. Like, for me, film is such a beautiful art form that if people can go in and see a movie and just enjoy it, that's an amazing. And like, yeah, if people think about like the themes, that's great too. I do write a lot of stuff like social commentary and stuff. And yeah, it's kind of like if people are entertained, like, I basically grew up watching movies from a kid and I just love them. And if I can like bring that joy as a filmmaker, that people enjoy my work, that's like the best, compliment or praise or success for me, And the goal is to do a sequel, so hopefully the first one does well enough that we can do that.
Yeah, I definitely see where you left it open-ended for a sequel, and I'd really be looking forward to see that one as well.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Andrew, for coming on and taking the time to chat with us. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much as well. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
So again, let the listeners know roughly when because you still don't have a distributor, but roughly when it will be premiering.
I would say sometime between like next summer to next Halloween, somewhere in that window. Okay. Like, definitely streaming, hopefully theater release. That's the plan. That's the dream. So fingers crossed. And yeah, if you follow us on Instagram at the Demoness movie, we'll keep you updated with any like festivals and reviews and stuff. The reviews so far have been amazing, which has been great.
All right, fantastic. Well, once again, I really appreciate the time that you took for us, and the best of luck on your film.
Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it. Yeah, as filmmakers, it's a tough industry, so like all the support we can get is so much appreciated.
Absolutely. And again, myself and Sean over at Fear on Film. I mean, we're really, we support and we really champion the indie filmmaker. Again, you guys, you're the backbone of the genre, and you drive the industry. It's a unique situation because it's not the major studios that are really driving it. It's you guys, and they're the ones who take notice of the indies and trend from that. So good job, man.
It's a very, very flattering compliment.
and it's so true. It's so absolutely true. Overall. So, alrighty. Well, thanks again, Andrew, and best of luck. And
of course, thank you so much as well. And yeah, we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we really hope you enjoyed the show. Please help to support the podcast by giving us a 5-star rating or leave us a good review. Another way you can help to support us is simply to subscribe and or follow us on Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Audible, Boomplay, or wherever you get your creepy podcast fix. Also, don't forget to check us out on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Blue Sky. All of this stuff, they can be found in our LinkTree link below in the show notes. Be sure to click on it and check them out. You can also contact us directly via email to fearonfilmpod@gmail.com. I'm Joe, and this is Fear on Film, where horror lives.